those who don't remember, I'm Roddy.
I'm Letty.
And today we have a very special guest, Cesar, joining us. And he's here to share a little bit about his experience, kind of going to the U.S., being a native Mexican, going to the U.S. and coming back. But we'll just kind of let Cesar do a little talking. Cesar, kind of want to introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi. Yes, my name is Cesar, and I was born here in Queretaro in 1970, 2 years ago. And then in 1988, I was 17 years old, and then I went to the U.S. I went to Pennsylvania, just trying to, I don't know, find my way, I guess. And then uh, I was 17. I got a job. I started doing all kinds of jobs. And then years went by, and I finally, 2019, I came back to Mexico after the almost 32 years.
Okay. And so what took you to Pennsylvania? Was there, I know you talked about jobs. Was it for a job or just you heard about Pennsylvania?
Yeah, somebody I knew was in Pennsylvania, so they said, well, you can come over here. So I went there, and I love I like Pennsylvania. Yes, I
Which
lived
part exactly?
In Harrisburg, the capital.
Oh, Harrisburg. Okay, nice. And
Yeah.
so when you went there, did you have a job lined up, or what was your kind of your first job there? What did you
Now
do?
okay. The first thing I did actually was in the fields, in the farm, like picking tomatoes and green peppers. That was the
Okay.
summer of 1988, and that was hard. That was really really difficult. Yes, and so I was there for like maybe 3 months, and then I went to work at a factory, which was
Okay.
it was better.
Okay. And so yeah, you start out like I guess you kind of hear the stories. I know even my parents back home, when they were younger, they were kind of immigrants as well and worked in the fields. I mean,
Uh-huh.
even that experience. I mean, can you care to share a little bit about that experience? I know you said it was hard. I mean, what was hard about it? Was it the weather, just the time?
Well, it was, I was 17 years old. So that was the one thing. And then also, everybody thinks, well, in the US, everybody thinks that Mexico is really hot, like, all over. But, not, you can't get it that. I mean, it could be hot, yeah, but it's compared to the summers in Pennsylvania, it's cold. I mean, it's cold at least.
You sure?
So and I always thought the weather in the U.S. was going to be like either just moderate or neutral or very cold, not real hot. And then, it was extremely hot and humid. So the temperature, I remember that was about 102 degree.
Oh yeah.
And then working in the fields, what I mean, it really burns your skin.
Wow.
And I was like, it was really difficult. You can't stop sweating, you can't stop drinking water, and then like you have to be like bending over, picking up the tomatoes and the green peppers and everything. And I remember it like very clearly, like just what I felt. And I was 17 years old, so actually, and then I started complaining about everything. Like, oh, look at my hands, and look at my face. And then the other guys, they were actually, from the fields. They grew up working in the fields, and they really got tired of hearing me complain. And then they made some like smart remark. I mean, they got tired of listening to me. But yeah, I was that was that was not a very nice plus. That was not a pleasant experience. But it was just reality. You know what I mean? That's
Sure.
I left school, and I went to the U.S. to work, and okay, you want a job to work in the fields, and I was like, yeah, that was difficult. I kind of got used to it for like a little bit, so I stayed there for like 3 months. But then, as soon as I got a job at a factory, then I left. Yeah, that
Mhm.
was I didn't really like that.
Okay. And then so obviously you worked for a little while. Like, did you just kind of work your whole 30 years there? Did you do any continuing education, or I mean, I guess how did you progress as far as your 30 years there?
Okay, I work at a factory, but it was more like just like random jobs, like odd jobs. You know what I mean? So it was like over here, over there. So, but I didn't really get into anything, and then I started working in the kitchen, and making pizzas. And then I somehow learned to make pizzas and learned how to make spaghetti sauce and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I stayed working in a restaurant. mostly Italian, but
Okay.
also I work at a diner. So I cook breakfast. I was a breakfast cook. American food. That was which I love. Like American breakfast. I love it. And then Italian, mostly. Yes, American and Italian. So then, but the thing is, when I left Mexico, I didn't finish high school. So I always felt like I felt something about it. You know what I mean? So when I turned 30 years old, I I I said to myself, I'm gonna finish at least high school. So I went to my classes in a community college, and then I got my GED. Actually, that's the equivalent. So I got that, and then I went. I just wanted to get in college and take some classes. So I started taking some classes just because I wanted to feel what it was like to be in college. You know, what I mean, I wanted to have that feeling. So I wanted to try to learn how to write because I was pretty good, but I wanted to get better at writing and reading and everything. And I was pretty good reading and writing, so I really enjoyed that. But I'm happy that I learned, and I'm actually very happy I did that because of that. Now I have a job here in Mexico where I can use my Spanish and my English, and I do I do pretty much okay with that. So I'm very happy that I did that when I did.
Yeah, I think kind of when you told me a little bit about yourself before we got on air and just kind of reading, I think what made your story so interesting was, of course, like you hear about a lot of Mexican people going into the United States, for work, is that you actually decided to come back,
come back. Yeah.
right?
But what brought you come back? Why you didn't stay there as most people want to work in the US?
Well, I think okay for what I know, and I've seen the news and the people that I know in the U.S. and over here. Actually, a lot of us are coming back. The ones like much. I mean, like myself, like 40s, 50s. We're coming back now. And in my case, I really wanted to be home. I was like, okay, I've been gone for almost 32 years. And then my mom passed away. I couldn't be here. And my dad passed away. I couldn't be here.
Oh.
And that really, yeah, it makes you really sad. And then I'm like, I'm 49. I missed so much, because I had nephews, nieces, and I didn't know them. I didn't know any of them. I knew my brothers and sisters because they always came to visit. Always like 2-3 times a year they would come to visit.
Is that sorry interrupt you? Is that due to the COVID thing? You couldn't come back when your parents passed away, or is there some
Yeah,
due
no,
to the work or something?
well, actually, yeah, because that was they passed suddenly, and then and I didn't have also the way to coming back for that, and also I was working, so it was actually when both of them passed away, I was in charge of the restaurant, so the owners were away, and she's like, okay, I gotta go to work. Okay, mom just passed. So, well, you still have to go to work. So you have to go up and up, and I couldn't just get on a plane and come back. So I missed a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself,
It's
I'm
tough.
going back time. Yeah, it was very difficult. And so I, called my brother and I said, I'm coming back. They couldn't believe me after, 31 years. But I'm like, yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm coming back. And yeah, it's just I'm very happy, very, very happy I made that decision. But it was a very difficult decision because then coming back, I felt like at first at least I felt like a total stranger down here,
Yeah.
more so than up there.
Yeah.
And that was very difficult. But I'm very happy. Like I was so happy. And then my family, they were actually very afraid I wasn't gonna get used to being here now. And I was like, no, I'm actually very happy because I stopped taking like sleeping pills and I stopped losing my hair. So everything got better. I'm like really happy. Yes.
Okay. Well,
So you did feel your lifestyle changed from when you live in the US, now you work here, living here, everything get a little bit easier?
It became easier for me. It got easier for me because I was working always a lot in the US. I mean, on my average, like 30 years was like 80 hours a week. In the kitchen.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then sometimes it was more than that, but that was my average. So I spent like my youth at a pizza table or on the grill. So then I came back and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to retire yet, but I'll do something else. And I'm like, I don't know, I'll find something to do in Mexico. And I did. And I came back and I started working at school, and then they closed the schools because of the pandemic. So then I
Oh,
got a
right.
job
Mhm.
online. And actually, I can use my English and my Spanish now. And it's very comfortable because I got my hours in the morning, then my afternoon at night. It's completely off. My weekends off. So it's like full relax. I'm with my family. I'm in my hometown, in my city.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a citizen, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Actual citizen. So that all of that stuff makes me feel good. Like it relaxes me. So excuse me, my mind is more at ease. And I'm
Okay.
very happy to see my family all the time because
Yeah.
we socialize a lot. We're like really, really close. So we always like call each other. They come over here, let's make a meal. So now I cook pastas and pizzas. So I make pastas and pizzas for them. And when I make pizzas, I'm talking about like 30 to 35 pizzas. But it's a lot of fun.
So
Yeah, that's something I really, really, really like doing. That socializing with my family, and I missed that for 30 some years. So it's like, I'm happy that I'm here. And I get to do those things with them.
yeah, and that's great. I mean, obviously, we always hear a lot about kind of Mexican culture and being very close to family and stuff. But just looking back to the U.S., what were some things you enjoyed, or maybe some things you miss about the U.S.?
Oh, a lot of things about the U.S. Actually, I'm like really grateful. The whole experience with the United States because even though you meet some people that are not very happy to see you, let's say the vast majority of people that I met, they were really good people. So I was very fortunate that way. And I was always a good employee, and I tried to be, you know, a good person. So I missed all the snow. I missed the snow. I can, I missed that. I would like
Yeah.
to see that again. I missed the people, a lot of people that I met, very good people. My bosses, I still get in touch with them. Um, I also missed the food. I love pancakes. I love French toast. I like the diners. I always like going to the diners. That's the
Right.
sort of thing. And in Harrisburg, we had like three diners, like beautiful. So I miss that stuff. Another thing, I used to go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to see like the Amish culture, the food and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
miss all that stuff. It's like something I wish I could experience again. The culture, the music, just being around people who just are American. It's just the culture. It's I think something I
Mhm.
really got into it because after a while, even though you're always gonna be like not from there, you come from somewhere else. You adapt yourself, or you become more like you. It's in your mind. You just become with culture. You know what I mean? You understand it. You go along with it, and you get used to it. And then when you don't have it, you're outside of it. Then you kind of miss that.
Right.
So so I really, I had a great time, and like I said, I met a lot of good people, and so that was just something I always like. I'm very grateful about that all the time.
Yes. And so I know you mentioned, of course, being back around your family
Mhm.
is always, is very nice. But what else do you enjoy about being back? Maybe besides family, what else is it about Querétaro or Mexico that
Mhm.
you really enjoy? And that you miss now that you're back.
Okay, well, like I said, the weather's something that I cannot really get over it. I cannot get
No.
over it because, like I said, in the U.S., everybody thinks it makes extremely hot, even though they're like 160 degrees in summer. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
no. And then one time, sometimes I'm talking like middle of summer with someone in the U.S. and they're like, "Man, it's so hot." I'm like, you know what? It's so cold down here. I have to have a like sweatshirt on, and or something like a coat, like light coat. And they cannot believe it. I'm like, yeah, it's actually cool. It's not nice, like 50 some, 60. There's like 90 some up there. So the
Yeah.
weather's something like I cannot get over how nice it is. I love the city. You know, going downtown to just restaurants, coffee or bars, something like
Mhm.
that. Hanging out with people, seeing my old friends, my high school friends.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
really like that. Walking down the streets I used to walk when I was a child, when I was a kid. That's something I also like. And then also obviously the food. I go and eat out all the time. So I miss that part too. And then obviously it's said the family. And now that I've had that experience in the U.S., I meet a lot of people from the U.S., Canada, and some other parts. So I like hanging out with them because, like, yeah, it's like it reminds me of when I first went up there. So now
Right.
it's like, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? Oh, yeah, I'm from whatever, Texas, Tennessee, and stuff. Like in a group of expats, we have a lot of people from the U.S. So most
Right.
people from the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. And then so Canadians, and then you have small percentage from like all over the world, like from Asia, the UK, even Africa. So it's really diverse, and I
Right.
really, really enjoy hanging out with them, getting to know each other, and I really like helping out. Like, what do you need? Oh, well, I need to know what or how to do this and that. So I try to help out because it makes me feel good. Like, okay, somebody did that for me 30 some years ago, so I can do it for somebody else,
Yeah.
and that makes me feel like I'm still connected to the country
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I know I wanted to touch on something you mentioned was about you're happy to be back and enjoy the some of the food here. I know online sometimes you tend to see people talk about the food here in Querétaro not being as good as other parts of Mexico. I mean, what would you say to that? I mean, we've had a good
Yes.
experience so far with food, but I,
Well, I've heard that actually from YouTubers from more
yep,
than one. Actually,
yeah,
yeah, actually a few of them. Now, in yes, a lot of people brag about Oaxaca, Puebla, Michoacan. I haven't been to Oaxaca yet. Michoacan, my parents are from Michoacan, so I actually grew up in that, which I really like. But for me, since I grew up in this city, well, at least until I was 17 years old, for me, it's pretty good. But yes, I understand that maybe in some other areas it could be more what some people call the real Mexican food. You know what I mean? That for me, everything's Mexican. But it's how
yeah,
the real Mexican. Like, okay, whatever whatever that means.
whatever that
Yeah, and
means.
I'd like to go to Puebla, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. But I like to go to Puebla, but I think we have good stuff here. Really good food. I think it's really important that you have to actually know where to go to get certain
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I mean?
recently we went to the little town, the La Blade. We found one of the best, the Baba would call it the birria taco I have ever had.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
Right.
cabeza de res, which is
Yeah, but the thing
the
is,
cow face
well,
taco was so good.
lucky. No, no, yeah. You have to know because for me, my family's like they told me, okay, just what do you want? Okay, they know where to take me.
right,
Yeah, right.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
always inside the city. Sometimes like could be Amealco, could be some other town around here. But
sure,
they know
Mm-hmm.
it's like for me it's like amazing. I'm like I really really enjoy this. And then sometimes also it doesn't have to be like the biggest place or the most
no,
expensive place. Sometimes it's like a little shop somewhere, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. So I really enjoy it, but I think like I said, it's really important that you know where to go and what places and
Right.
because in some places they're very good
Mm-hmm.
for, like for seafood or like beef, steaks, stuff like that. So it varies. But I really like the food here. Yes,
well, do you have any,
definitely.
for any of our people who may be listening? I know we've given some suggestions in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
what are some places that it may be easier to find, or maybe not, but just places that people may have missed? Maybe some restaurants or recommendations you may have.
Uh, well, actually, one thing that I was really, really happy about it when I went to the vineyards in
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Texquiapan, because I learned how to make wine. So now I'm teaching my family how to make wine. So we go to Texquiapan, pick the grapes, and crush them, and I got my press and everything. So we make the wine, and then they have really good restaurants in those places. The cheese
Yeah.
is very good. The cold meats, like cured meats, also very good. And then to buy bread and eat gorditas in
Oh yeah.
Bernal. I really, really enjoyed
Oh,
that. And
Bernal
then,
Gorditas.
Oh yeah,
right.
that one we went.
Yeah, they're good
And
there. Yeah,
then
we've had a few.
Yeah.
also, oh no,
Uh-huh.
they're amazing. They're good. I
Yeah,
love gorditas. I love
Me
gorditas.
too. I like it. I like the fried one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
we
yes,
just
I
made
like
a
that.
YouTube video about it. Yeah.
I really
Nice.
like all of that enchiladas. Since I was a
Uh-huh.
kid, I used to love enchiladas, and
Yeah.
also the pambazos. I don't know if you know the story. The pambazos or guajolotes.
I've had it once. Oh,
Man,
never
I love
guajolote.
them.
Yeah, that's the bread is kind of soaked in the red
Some
sauce.
red sauce, like enchilada sauce.
Right,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh
then with
yeah,
guajolote, that's a turkey.
Ah,
Never had it with guajolote.
yeah.
No.
We never had it.
and
Mhm.
obviously the tacos. Obviously the tacos. So for me,
Oh
the
yeah.
tacos, it's like yeah, I can go to the corner shop, that small place. But I used to. I really really like the ones at La Parrilla Leonesa. They have
Mm.
I think two places here in the city, but they're amazing. They're a little bit pricey, but I mean the place is beautiful. But the tacos and the salsas and everything is like, oh man, it's
Top
delicious.
notch.
I feel like, yeah, I think for me that's probably the best. For me, that's my opinion.
Mhm.
But the place is nice. But like I said, it's a little pricey, but you eat three tacos and then you'll be like satisfied. But they're really, really, really tasty. I really like them. So that's one of the places I think that place is like not very known around here, but it's a great place.
Yeah, you should take us for a food tour. We should make some episode
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm getting to know a few places thanks to my family. So yeah, I like to recommend places when I see the people asking.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people may not even. Another thing you kind of touched on with the food was the wine. I know
Mhm.
maybe people who live here kind of know about the wine, but I know a lot of people outside of Mexico really don't think
Yeah.
of wine when they think of
Mhm.
Mexico. And actually, I saw on your feed that you posted an article about like the Mexican white wine actually won the best white wine in worldwide competition or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was worldwide actually, which is something new. It was a white wine, but from I think the north, Guadalupe,
Mhm.
Valle de Guadalupe. But I think what it means is that the quality is actually getting up there. You know what I mean? With the others best in the world. I
Yeah.
mean, which is like I guess California and Europe or something like that. And so the quality is getting better. It's improving. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the wine from here from Queretaro. I like the red wine, Cabernet or Merlot. That's what I make also. But I'd say that's something that I really like going to vineyards. I don't know if you go to La Redonda. Oh,
We've
that's
been.
just a beautiful place.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
that
like
yeah,
one.
yeah. We've been to a few, La Redonda, and
Mhm.
I always forget the other one we would go to. Rincones, no, Rincones? No, Rendon, I think, was the other one out there. Is the other one that we used to go to. We used to like. And actually had a really good white wine there, too. I
yeah.
think it's on the way
Well,
to Texas.
I think
And
I
there's
know
so many
three.
out here, so many. Yeah.
Yeah, so many of them. I only know three of them, but the three of them I was very pleased just being there because I was like, wow, that was something new for me, and I was like very happy that like the whole place was beautiful, the ambience is very nice, and then you get your
Mhm.
wine.
Mhm.
It's very relaxing. It's a beautiful experience, I think, and I guess yeah, a lot outside of Mexico is going to think that we make wine. Everybody's like, well, they make beer and tequila. That's it. No, red wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah, that's
think
good.
that was last weekend in Texas. They just had the wine and the cheese festival.
right. That's
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's becoming more and more known. I think more the secret's getting out a little bit more. The
Mhm.
Mexican wine is actually very good for the most part. I know sometimes there's people out there maybe a little bit snobby and kind of look down towards
Oh
Mexican wine.
yeah,
Again,
there's always
I've
someone
seen the
threat.
online the threads online like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just not the same. This kind of wine from France or Spain. I mean, it's getting out there. The wine here is very good for most people who don't know. I think they're
Mhm.
starting to know.
Oh yeah, the color is definitely improving, but it might take some time. But I'm sure if you come in and you try several, you're gonna find something you like. I'm pretty sure because there's several types. So yeah,
Well, I mean, I know that's good. I know so we talked about all the good things, like family and friends being back and food.
Uh-huh.
But I think sometimes people also have ideas about Mexico that where it could be improved, right? Or some of the negative things about Mexico. And I know
Yeah.
you had mentioned some of those. You didn't give me anything specific, but you think, oh, I know Mexico is not perfect. No place on earth is perfect, right? But I think sometimes people like to hear from the source, right? From a Mexican. What do they think could be improved, or how are things improving here in Mexico?
Or something you dislike it.
well, okay. Two main things. Okay, obviously for every single person inside the country and also outside the country, because it affects not only people in
Sure.
here. I've seen you've seen the news lately with Congress in the U.S. and this thing with certain things that are being brought over the border. And anyway, so the security is a major concern for everybody. Obviously, I
Sure.
think we definitely could do a better job. It's not easy, obviously. It's difficult, but that is one concern. That's like, and the thing is also okay. There's certain areas that I wouldn't go.
Sure.
The same way, there's certain parts in Harrisburg where I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were certain neighborhoods I
Oh, I
wouldn't
bet.
go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then also like certain cities in the U.S. I think like it could be like Chicago or Baltimore or New Orleans or something. So there's some certain places that maybe to begin with you have no business going into. So
Sure.
in there are places in here, those cities or states, I'm like, yeah, I better not go. But in Querétaro, I feel very safe. I have never
Sure.
seen anything or had a bad experience or anything. So you know, knock on wood, right? Um, so,
Mhm.
but the security overall in the country, I think that's something that needs to be taken very, very seriously. And because the thing is, I think the country, the economy is improving. I think it is
Yeah.
improving. I see that because 30 years ago, 32 when I left. Now I'm like I see things better. So I think
Sure.
there's
Mhm.
improvement, more jobs, more even though the salaries may not be great for a lot of people, but you have a job, so it's better. So in the economy, in the economic side, I think it's improving. Security, we need to do a better job, definitely.
Sure.
Another thing with bureaucracy, I mean, it could be a nightmare. With the banks, going to the bank, the first time I went to the bank here, I was like, I couldn't believe it, how bad it was. So that takes some getting used to. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
It takes some getting used to. We're going to a government office, and then it's only like Monday through Friday at certain hours. Okay, so if you work Monday through Friday, the Saturdays you can't do anything. So you got to take the day off. You have to lose income. So those things could be improved
Sure.
quite a bit. Quite a bit. They need a lot of improvement, and I think they will. But I think that process is painfully slow, and that is something that when you come from the U.S., you want things fast. You want
Yeah.
things done yesterday, and
Yeah.
that could be frustrating. So yeah, if you come here to live in Mexico, get ready for that stuff. To have some patience, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So yeah, security, bureaucracy, and then what else is it? Well, those two things are just for me the main things. Everything
Sure.
else I can deal with now. In Querétaro, it used to be back in the 70s and 80s. The traffic was like pretty easy. Now it's a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now the traffic is the issue.
yeah,
Yeah.
could be
It's
sometimes.
certain
Certain
times.
hours,
Yeah.
certain area.
Overall, it's not. I don't think it's too bad. It's still manageable, but it's
Yeah.
getting big. But the thing is, the city keeps growing, and
Oh
also
yeah,
because a
for
lot of
sure.
companies keep coming over, and that's a good thing. So, you know,
Well,
but
and how do you and I guess also I know. Well, how long have you been back?
Oh yeah.
3 years, three
3 years.
years
Three
Okay.
and
years.
change.
Because also things that we notice online is people sometimes talk about foreigners coming
Mm,
into Mexico,
yeah.
and how I think I like to believe that most people see it as a good thing, but obviously you always hear stories about how Mexicans from Mexico don't like so many foreigners coming in because of it's raising the cost of living or raising the cost of rents or housing. Do you see it that way, or is that something that's just kind of more made up, or is some truth?
I think you always have to be like for me. I have to keep it real, like to you know what I mean. Not because let's say it's uncomfortable for me to
Sure.
accept that, I'm gonna say no. Or if it's not true, I want to be true. It's not gonna be true because I wanted to. So the thing is, like the first thing when somebody brings up that subject, especially online, because online, a lot of people say a lot of things they shouldn't say.
Yep.
It's like, okay, we have how many immigrants in Mexico, right? I was one of them. So it's like, okay, the way I was treated very nicely by the vast majority of people. You understand? So it's like, the first thing I say is something like that. Now, secondly, when people come here, deliver something, they come and buy, rent, but they come to mostly to spend money. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. And sometimes there's some, I think in Mexico City, Roma, Condesa, I think some people are concentrating in those areas.
Sure.
So
Mm,
yeah, they may be some kind of like, some people not being very happy. Obviously, certain prices, yeah, that's going to happen. It's going to go up. But for me, I mean, yeah, if I cannot afford it, I'm not going to go there, or I'm not going to live there. I'm going to live someplace. But the thing is, overall, it's a very good thing for the economy to come,
mhm.
to have people coming here who are gonna like spend money, buy property, and then they set up businesses too. I know people that I've met recently. They already have businesses. Okay, so
Wow.
that's gonna help the economy. Okay, and the thing is, like, for me, the most important thing is like I don't want to be a hypocrite. You know, I don't want to say, oh, you know, they're coming. I was there. You know, I was somewhere else. We had a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for me, it's you know, for me, it's like that's one thing that for me is very controversial, like immigration, because I met a lot of people, and especially undocumented, that were very good people, worked really hard, and then you had some other people that are not very, very good. So
Yeah.
for me, it's like the bad ones, you really have to make the difference. And okay, no, thank you, but you have to do the good ones. And I think that actually, when I talk to my family, I have never heard from my family, and I have a large family, saying, "Oh, you know, these people that come from the, you know, Asia and Europe and the U.S. got no." Because we understand there's some people that have normally good jobs or good income. They come here because they want to be here, not because they have to, but they want to enjoy the weather and this and that. So that's never been the subject of a conversation. If anything, it's like, oh, how can we like probably buy product from the U.S. and bring them down here so where they can have it? Because I see a lot of comments in the group that I want to have like Campbell's soup. I want to have like birch beer. I want to have this. I'm like, maybe I should, buy it. So that's sort of common. That's kind of common conversation when we talk about people from other countries. Now, there's a whole different conversations from when it comes to other people that either passing through to go to the U.S. or want to stay. But the thing is, the way they ask or demand, actually not ask, demand things, that's a whole different conversation. Because that I really dislike. I'm really against it. I think that when I was in the U.S., I was learned how to say please, thank you very much, and how to act according to the culture. How to actually respect the culture, learn the language, or at least try. And then the thing is, like, yeah, there's certain people that are just passing through or something, but they come in and they actually demand things like right away, and it's like, that's not the way it works. And that is that conversation came up, with my family several times. And it's not very pleasant. But that's a whole different thing. So I think you have to learn how to separate things. It's not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's a whole different things. And so basically, I think there's some people that are very good, are going to be very positive. They're going to make a positive change in society. And maybe some other people are not going to. But when it comes to gentrification, because that's the new word that's going around here.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I think that's a good thing. You cannot blame somebody else for having a little bit more money. You cannot blame them. Just the same way you cannot blame somebody else for having less. Okay. So that's, for me, that's a good thing. And I have properties too. So somebody wants to buy something. For me, that's great. Okay, maybe I want to live in a much better neighborhood. I mean, I'm very happy where I am, but if I don't have the money to buy that really expensive neighborhood, I'm not going to be mad at them. You understand?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm happy where I live. I can pay this house. Okay, I cannot pay the other very expensive house. Somebody else can pay for it. Good for you. Good for them. And that's the way I see it. For me, it's very simple. For me, it's not really complicated, controversial. I think sometimes you just have to understand that some people are going to have a little bit more, some people are going to have a little bit less, and that's the way it's always been. So,
right. I think that's. I think I agree with that 100%. It's always been like that. I know people always talk about the haves and have-nots, but and how to change things. But this is something that's been the way it is since the beginning of time, right?
And another thing, at least in Querétaro, people who come here the most are not from the other countries. They're actually more from inside Mexico, from other cities and states. So we have a lot from Mexico City, a lot from Michoacan or stuff like that. So one time I was at a place, and there were like 27 people. Okay, when I was at school, when I came back, and then I asked, well, who's from Querétaro? Who's actually from here? 3 of us, 3 people out of like 27. Yeah, that's how many. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, because I was like, I thought it would be like 3/4 of us, or at least half. It was only like small fraction of us were like Queretanos. Everybody else was from Mexico City, Guanajuato, Michoacan, so on. Yeah. So you have a tiny fraction of people who come from other countries, but you have a lot of people from similar states. So it doesn't. I don't like to hear words like gentrification and things like that because it's not real to the point that some people are trying to make it out to be. Just tiny percentage. But I would like to, like, when I was in the U.S., I try not to live, in my case, with other Mexicans because I wanted to learn how to talk. And when you live with some other people speaking the same language, you're always going to be very comfortable just speaking that language. And I think sometimes, like, some people do that. They go exactly the same place and concentrate in that area. I mean, that's fine
Right.
by me. You know what I mean? That's what you like. That's what you like. But it could create a bit of friction with some people. Could be. It could be. That I don't think it's fair, or I don't think should be. Yeah, that's the right thing.
Hmm. Okay, we know you've traveled in the U.S. and obviously you're from here, from Mexico. So for any listeners out there, maybe what are the top three places, if you were a foreigner coming to Mexico, would you recommend to visit as far as like cities or locations?
Well, we were talking about the food, so definitely I want to go to Oaxaca. Not only
Hmm.
because of that, but because of the nature, also the beaches. They have a lot of,
Oh
actually
yeah,
three beaches.
that's on our
The
to-do
nature,
list.
yes, and they say also the nature. You can see how actually a lot of wildlife, which in Querétaro is actually lacking a little bit. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. But within Oaxaca, yes, I would like to go there. Also, I want to go to Cancun, even though it's like, oh yeah, Cancun. No, but the thing is, also, I like to get into the beach and the water and see my feet, look down and see my
Yeah.
feet. I would like to,
Oh
and I
yeah.
want to go to Chichen Itza. I really want to go and see those ruins. Um, Another thing, I think Mexico City. I've been there. Like I was there like about I think last year or something, but it was just like going through like really fast. But
Right.
what I saw, actually, I really enjoyed it. So I think I would like to go to Coyoacan and see
Coyoacán,
the
yeah.
the Frida Kahlo Museum. I want to go to just downtown, and I want to go to Condesa. I want to go to Roma. I think there's a lot of places and restaurants because my family are okay. We have to go to this restaurant. We gotta take you there. I was like, okay, let's go someplace sometime. And so that would be, I think, Cancun. I think I have to go there.
Yeah.
Oaxaca because of the things I mentioned, and I think Mexico City. I think right now Mexico City is sort of like getting kind of famous
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
a lot of reasons. So I like to go and see what the fuss is all about. Like see if it's like okay, it's all hype or really there's a lot of to see, which I think is probably real. But
Yeah.
I like to see it for myself.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite places to go, man. And it's one of the good things about Querétaro, it's so close. I think
Yeah.
we've been there three times already. Yeah, we've been to Mexico City three times, and we always enjoy it. Yeah, it's kind of like you said, kind of going through like a renaissance. Kind of, it's getting reheard of. Everyone
Yeah,
wants to go there again. I think
right,
it's and I think rightfully so and well deserved. I think it's a really fascinating city.
I love it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
So yeah,
most people, say they really like it. Yes.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
So you're saying so like the Cancun, Chichen Itza, like the Yucatan area, Oaxaca, Mexico
Mexico
City.
City.
Yeah,
Okay.
all very good spots.
Yeah.
What else?
Um, the other one was the which three cities, if you have a choice to live in the US.
In the U.S., like I really like Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. I mean, the snow. I miss the snow. Also, like in autumn, the way
Oh
the
yeah.
tree, it changes. The scenery is beautiful.
Mhm.
Another thing, I would like to probably Colorado. I
Right.
think I would like to Colorado. Maybe Montana. I'm not too much of a city guy. I've been to New
Yeah, yeah.
York, and it's not for me, New York.
No.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty big, but no, not for me. Uh, I think maybe yeah, Montana because of the also
Mhm.
Big open spaces,
the
yeah, for
forest
sure.
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, all the big open spaces. Hi, for me that's something beautiful more than skyscrapers.
Mhm.
I like that.
Right, right. Oh, yeah, it's a totally
So
different
there's
thing,
yeah,
right? Interesting. So you said Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Colorado, Montana, right?
Okay. Three place has a snow.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll have snow. Yeah, not for me. I don't like
yeah,
snow.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
And
fun. It could be fun.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You
Just
like snow.
well, no. I've seen snow maybe four times in my life, and maybe like just once up in the mountaintops, and yeah. I'm
From
I'm
far
a
away.
southern boy. Yeah, I'm from Texas. I'm from southern down south. I've always been never got used to snow.
Yeah, just like
Okay.
yesterday we talk about where you can see snow in
Oh yeah,
Mexico.
where
We
can you
just
see
talked
snow in
about
Mexico?
Well, actually, you can see it. You have to know it. I think last 2 years ago, actually, was in Veracruz, and there was
Veracruz, really?
Oh
quite a bit of
wow.
it. Yeah, it was like
Wow.
eight
Okay.
inches or something.
Wow. Yeah,
Veracruz,
'cause I
because
mean,
that was close to the Popo.
oh, okay, okay,
So,
that makes more sense.
yeah,
Yeah, because I've heard like Durango and Zacatecas, some places can snow
up north.
in the
Okay,
mountains.
you're not gonna believe this. One time here in Querétaro, okay, when I was a kid, that was 1975, I think. One day I woke up and it was very cold, and I went outside and I looked at all these mountains that you see around here. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
all snow covered
Wow.
in snow. Yeah,
Yeah.
one time in
Wow.
my life, which is like maybe that's
Once.
one every 200 years or something. But
Yeah.
it was all covered with snow, which is like, wow, yeah, that was amazing. So we had snow here in Querétaro already.
Wow.
Once every 200 years, that's it. We're out of luck. Okay, interesting. And then so, all right, maybe our last little kind of rapid fire top three, and this has to do with, again, foreigners coming to Mexico, right?
Mhm.
So, what are three things you dislike about or that you see foreigners do that come to Mexico?
Actually, I'm not so sure I can actually find one thing.
Okay.
Everybody that I've met, okay, it's been like, okay, first of all, really very respectful. Yeah, maybe learn some more Spanish, and that's not because I mind. Actually, I wish I could interact more with them and
Sure.
better my English. But I think it's because sometimes like I know what it feels like to be in a certain area and not being able to say to have a long conversation with somebody. So
Right.
that's probably one thing that I think could be improved, or it could be better for them, or like if you had some kind of emergency, you go to the hospital or you got a couple of police or something. I think that's something
Mm.
that could be crucial certain um, times. Um, After that, I really don't see anything that they could do better because actually most people who are planning or coming here, they just read books, they watch a lot of videos or advice from YouTubers, so they actually know a lot and they actually plan that like
Right.
months or years in advance. So I think they're doing pretty good so far. I just like said,
Uh-huh.
they have to be actually more aware of the things that we spoke about, the things that you might not like the going to the bank, that's going to be rough, or
Mm.
yeah, going to the government office, that's going to be a little bit unpleasant. So I think you have to be ready for that and have patience because
Yeah.
you're getting that patience. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Then
don't lose
Don't
patience
lose
in
patience.
those moments. Don't be
it
that
takes it
foreigner.
takes some time. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when I first came here, when I came back, even though I'm from here, but when I came back after almost 32 years, even the money for me was really frustrating to use the money.
Mm.
It's like the coins and how much is this? How much is that? Like, yeah, I know it says 300 pesos, but I don't really know what that means because I couldn't
Right.
have I understand the money. So it takes a while to start thinking in pesos. It takes a while to actually even make your Spanish even more fluent. Now, actually, I'm forgetting my English because I speak very good English, but then you don't speak that for 3 years, so you start to forget that.
Right.
So so at first you need a lot of patience. You have to get ready
Right.
Mhm.
So, yeah, learn the
Yeah.
language,
for
have
that.
a little patience.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. I
a
think
lot of patience.
another thing is always we like to discuss. We discuss a lot about the people like foreigners, Americans, or even women wear shorts during the hot day, like 12 o'clock, in walk in the central. You think it's proper or this called a disrespect to your culture? But we're not talking about the fancy restaurant. Of course, we're long pants, long trouser for men. I mean, we heard some people judge about it. Not a Mexican, maybe some American, some audience from ours comments on our video. You should not wear shorts. Like middle of the day is so hot. So that's why I need to ask you, as a Mexican man, what do you think about if you see a man or woman wear shorts, especially men and woman, maybe another story in the central,
No,
in the shopping mall.
actually, no. In my family, I mean, I think
What happened?
some local people, maybe not as many people with shorts, but that's a more like maybe people are more traditional. But I think if I go in shorts, I'm very comfortable.
Sure.
Or I see my niece or my sister in shorts. We're very comfortable. We do sometimes. But I was a little bit surprised because I've seen those comments from expats. Try to wear pants, not shorts. But man, I'm like, maybe if you're more comfortable with shorts, for me, it's very much okay. Maybe you go to like a very high end restaurant, like expensive restaurant, something that they have a dress code or something. Okay, that's different. But if you go to a casual place, I'm very comfortable with casual. Very comfortable with casual. And if you have to dress up for I don't know, maybe a party like a wedding or something, then you dress up when you have to. But when it's casual, I never heard anything. Like I said, I've heard from people, from Americans, that make
That's
sure
exactly
you
what we said.
yeah,
The
but
American
not
gentleman.
from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said the shorts. Make sure you say hi, hola, buenas tardes, and it's like, yeah, we say buenas tardes, but not all the time. Some people say, some people like buenas tardes. I was like, okay. So, but the shorts and the casual clothing for me is actually very comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable.
And then I see a lot of people, Mexicans and others, shorts and maybe sandals or something like that. No, that's fine. I think
I think I was talking to Delaney about it. I think it's maybe more of a traditional mindset. Maybe if you go to the small puebla,
for some people, yeah. It all depends on the place, because I think I heard Guadalajara was more traditional or conservative, and I was like, okay, I've never been there, but I think here in the city it's more, and that's one thing that I really like. That's why I think it's more open-minded or more easy with when they see something that's probably a little bit different. Clothing could be clothing, or could be even couples sometimes. And I think it's very relaxed, and I think I really enjoy that, because I think people are more accepting.
Nice.
They maybe in some other places.
Okay, and so I guess maybe lastly, as we kind of wind down here, would there be any other questions maybe that we missed that you wished we asked, or any last pieces of advice you'd like to give to anybody coming to Querétaro or to Mexico?
Well, I see like I said in the group, I see a lot of people that they're coming over to live or to stay for a few months or a couple of years, and they're coming with kids, the wife and stuff. So they they ask about the safety, which is obvious given all the news that are just about Mexico outside of the country, which I've seen. It's always negative, but okay, yeah, we have that part, like certain areas, but it's not everything. You know what I mean? It's like you can have a very good life in certain parts of the country.
Sure.
But I think you have to do your homework. Like some people who are planning on coming here to live, or to live for a few years, I would come in and do like just go ahead and get to know neighborhoods. Okay, what's close. If you want to live downtown, because a lot of people like downtown. I like it, but I don't want to live there because of the traffic.
Sure. Yeah, same.
Okay, no, but I want to live there. Okay, they have nice places. So many people like Curiquilla. Some people like Saki. I love Saki. El Refugio. So I think if you want to come here and actually be for a while, or move down here to live, come in. Okay, do your own homework. Okay, it's okay. You take advice from somebody, but you have to come in and actually see and feel it. Because it's gonna be different. Get a feeling of that. This neighborhood, you really like it, because you're gonna make an investment. That's very important, because if you live in, actually, if you move to Riquilla, Sakia, El Refugio, what's the other one? Cibata. It's not gonna be something like a minor investment. It's gonna be more, sizable investment. So I would recommend you come in and do your homework. I think that's really important. That's what I would do, definitely.
Nice. Okay. And the last things you want to add?
Yeah, the advice.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, Cesar, we appreciate the time so much. And again, for anybody else out there who may be watching, if you have any questions for us or for Cesar, maybe we can kind of pass the question on. We always love to hear from you. Again, Cesar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, actually, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. And well, welcome home. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Bye
All
bye.
See you later, Caesar, and
See
we'll
you
talk to
soon.
everybody. Join us on Sundays. All right.
Okay,
Bye
well,
bye.
thank you.
Right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.